as we saw from the documentary, is what happens after a person has been shot and experiences a violent wound. Can you walk us through your process from the time someone gets to the hospital?
One thing that the surgeon taught me is just rip the Band-Aid off. Don't sugarcoat it. So we'd walk in and say, your son is deceased. He didn't make it. You would see all the emotion and the turmoil and hopelessness drain out of their body.
The ability to help other people learn from the tragedy that they've had to deal with their son, Lieutenant Richard Collins III. Someone none of us should ever forget.
If you're not familiar with a mother losing their son and the screams that go on, it's traumatic alone.
For her to take time to be a part of this really speaks volumes to the individual that she is. So please give a warm welcome to Mrs. Dawn Collins.
First of all, may I ask how many of you actually know the name Lieutenant Richard W. Collins III? This is why I'm standing in front of you, because see, it is my endeavor to have every hand go up. In 2017, the individual on this campus put a knife in Lieutenant Collins's heart, and he bled out on this campus.
We all can walk outside and lose our lives like this.
The first question that I'm going to have, and I'm going to start with Che and then work my way down, is what is your experience and interactions with gun violence personally?
In 2013, I was hit 13 times, and I was medevaced to University of Maryland, Prince George's County Hospital Center. And that's where I met my mentor and business partner, Dr. Richardson. He was doing a study on black men that was violently injured. And he just took a liking to me. So he said, hey, Che, come guest lecture my class. So I said, hey, well, I'll try. So I walked into his class, probably about this size, maybe 100, 150 students. And I just told my truth. And once that wrapped up, my car was shot up 19 times.
My uncle was shot, I believe, when I was about 10 or 11 years old.
Literally, when I was walking home with my cousins after a big party we went to, we literally took the wrong turn and got caught in the middle of a crossfire, and I got shot the same year as Shay. And the bullet that hit me hit 2 arteries, a great deal of blood loss, and I got within 26 minutes of bleeding to death in the hospital. And I'll never forget 2 things. One was when I arrived at the hospital, I was interrogated by investigators before I could go into surgery. And so while I'm in and out of consciousness and bleeding out literally, I was being asked to defend my innocence and being seen as a suspect first and a person second.
We grew up in a violent structure. We grew up hearing gunshots. We grew up hearing ambulance. It was a war zone.
And it just really affected not only his mental, but also the mental capacity of our family, because we didn't know how to handle that shift or what that meant for him mentally, and I think that's not really discussed when it comes to gun violence.
Men oftentimes are more likely to experience depression and anxiety when they're exposed to violence, whether that be gun violence or police violence in their communities. Women are more likely to experience physical health problems related to obesity, hypertension, diabetes, controlling for every other factor under the sun, and this carries over into all communities.
The hardest moment was watching 2 of the boys that I've worked with in caskets, next to each other, 116 and 119.
Imagine being shot and you're brought into the hospital, but you're brought in shackled.
What can collegiate athletes do with the platform they have to speak out against gun violence?
So I would say just always be prepared to organize and kind of back what is in your communities right now.
Don't let the culture or the music or the movies lead you astray. This is big business, y'all. Politicians won't come to the war zone. They also not gonna come to this classroom or this campus. So you gotta go get in their face to make sure that the people that are profiting in the boardrooms are being held just as accountable as those that are in their backyard trying to protect themselves with a gun that's illegal or legal.
We have a memorial on this campus dedicated to Lieutenant Richard Collins. That's the least that we can do. But what's most important is to keep his legacy alive.